Hi, this is Gloria, life coach, and welcome to another episode of FreeStyle.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson, your life coach and mentor coach, and welcome to another episode of Life's a Shuffle. Today is Freestyle Thursday, and no topic, no guest, and we're just going to have a conversation. I think I'll take the lead on this one. I had a conversation with my son via text last night, and he was on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, and his ambition is to be an NFL player. So he wants to actually get in the NFL. He wants to obviously, be that star. That's what his goal is. He's a junior right now in high school, and at this point, being a junior, you start looking at colleges. Colleges start looking at you as far as getting a scholarship. And he's always asking me, "Is that what I need to do to get big? What I need to do to get big?" Big meaning he wants to grow, another 4 or 5 more inches and get more size because the position he plays. So he texted me last night and he says, "Hey dad, what do you think about this?" And what think about which is his friend told him that now goes to college that, you start taking steroids.
Mm,
And I was like, actually, no, that's not what you want to do. Obviously over text, it's, you can't explain much in detail. I said, no, this is the way you want to do it. And I pretty much outlined the fact you want to work out 5 days a week. You want to, eat more food. And if anything, you can take some creatine. That's completely fine. But just to go hop into this taking steroids, that's not the way to go. That's just not the way to go, especially from, I call it the bro hookup, which this dude told you to take this. Where the hell you can get it from? You can't walk into your local pharmacy, Walker, and say, "Hey, by the way, I'm here. Where's some over-the-counter steroids? Got to take that." And it can have side effects to it. And even if you got it from a homeboy, which I mean, dude on the corner that gave you something, where's he getting it from, and how's he actually, make sure it's safe? We don't know. So but what I liked about it, which was the best thing, is actually came to me and asked me a question straight up. It wasn't trying to hide it or do it on his own or go on, internet and figure out what he should be taking, where to get it from, and all that stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. And from our conversation, it pretty much looked like it's going to go a different route versus a steroid route.
okay. Interesting.
That came out from the left field. I was totally surprised. I was taken back. It just was it, just what it is.
Yeah.
And it was it was cool. I think I'd rather at this point my kids come to me ask me questions, regardless of what the question is, rather than going to another source because that helps build a
Mhm.
better relationship. And at the same time, if you go to the internet, you can find 1,000 million different sources or information, and it can be very super confusing.
Mhm.
And let's talk about it. Okay, what's going on? More or less, I'm not going to shut them down. Like, oh, it's a bad thing to take it, and it's wrong. Don't do it. I want a more clear understanding of why, and why is this friend said you start starting to get big, and there's more context than just getting big. That's just that doesn't mean anything. More facts.
Yeah. So that's where the information then is not clear to a lot of people, or it could be misleading too, right? Because uh, I think I don't know, but I know of someone who was doing that before. And when I asked why are you doing that? Why would you even want to go there and use that? Because I want to get big. But so for some people, using that in their mind, it's just, I want to get big. And
Hmm.
using steroids will help them get big, but they don't understand and realize, like what you said, is all the facts. They don't have all the facts, all the information behind it and using that. It's not just getting big and what can it really do to you.
Well, when I was going through that bodybuilding phase of mine, and I dabbled in, I took steroids, and the idea was at that time I need to get big. And when you compare yourself, let's say in a bodybuilding world, and contrary to demand, it runs rampant. Not just steroids, but growth hormones. People are taking insulin shots right before a show, so it helps upload the body full of carbs. And you're not just taking so you got to realize steroids not one item. Okay, there's different types of steroids. There's different types of growth hormone. There's different types of all kinds of this mess you take out there. So when I dabbled in that field, I was doing like everybody. First, I got it from a boy, which was a friend or a friend. He gave it to me. I took it. Next thing you know, I'm breaking out with acne. Second thing is I hit the wrong spot, right? Because you're going online, and this is talking about early 2000s. You're trying to go online and figure out, what spot to hit and what you're doing. And obviously, they can say some junk. I mean, technically, it can be a vial filled with nothing but cooking oil
Mhm.
or lead. You don't know. You're just going based upon trust.
Mhm.
Then I found a second guy, and he actually he was good. I didn't have issues. The first guy, I was breaking out. I was having acne issues and all this kind of crap. And the second guy was good. I mean, if I needed it, it was right there. For whatever, it was really really good. And he helped me out a lot in understanding. He cared enough to understand how to help me how to do it versus here you go, this is what you need. There you go. This is it. This is it. He actually said, okay. And I actually was able to reach out to him like, hey, man, I'm going through this. What should I do? Okay, this is what you need to do. He just really cared about helping people versus just selling, the first guy was just a dope dealer. He just wanted to sell you some stuff. But over time, you can take that stuff, not cycling it properly. It can have effects of long-term testosterone. As far as, the truth of the matter is that taking steroids can be beneficial under the right medical provider or physician. I mean, a doctor, and you get them from a doctor and you're under some care versus from homeboy, because someone can watch you. Your testosterone can go very low. What causes that to happen is that you're not producing enough of natural testosterone, you're producing synthetic testosterone. So your body says, well, there's too much, shut down, we're not going to give you enough, right? It's no difference than you're pumping gas in your car and click, that tells you right then there it's full, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So that's what happens. And what starts to happen is that you can get, depending on how much you take in, testosterone shrinkage. And at the same time, it's like this. You want to have sex, but the other thing's not working right. You're thinking, but it's not. You wonder what the hell is going on, and those are the side effects that I witnessed because I was just taking too much, just overtaking it too much, just trying to get super huge. And obviously, your body then says, "Oh, too much testosterone." It can start producing testosterone. It can give you gyno. It can give you acne. So, um, and I don't disagree with taking it if you have a medical doctor, physician can control, because there are some good benefits to it. But if you're getting it from a boy on the street corner, no. But it,
Yeah.
it, it affected me. I remember, you know, uh, it just ain't working. I mean, just you're psychologically, you're there, mentally, you're there, but it just ain't working. It just ain't, the engine ain't starting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a cold battery. This is not working. So, yeah, so that's why I don't want my son to get involved in things like that, because
Mhm.
it's not from a doctor, it's not from a physician, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why.
Well, the good thing is that he came to you. So, the best person to go to and ask questions about it is you because you've experienced it.
Hmm.
So that's a good thing. So I'm wondering, like, is there steroids to grow like 2 inches taller that I can take?
Shoot, I'll sign up for that if there was. Actually, you know what? If you really want to grow 2 inches taller, I seen this done in a documentary. This guy was short, right? It's like a short man syndrome. Let's say he's like 5 foot
Mhm.
two. So what they
Mhm.
ended up doing is they ended up breaking his femur, and what they did is added spacers and pretty much nuts and bolts, put the space in between his legs,
Oh,
both
no,
legs.
thank you.
Yeah, so if you really, really want something, you can go get it. But it's a documentary and it's a true story, and the painstaking of that and recovery is just monumentous. That at some point you gotta say, "So, dude, let me get some shoes and put an extra
Mhm.
couple of inches on the shoe,
Yeah, exactly. That's
so
what
I
I'm
can get
gonna
some height."
do. That's why
Okay,
we have heels. So I'll stick to
right?
that.
Well, men don't have heels, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. But they do have shoes, like they have those platform shoes for men. I remember those like back in the 80s or 90s.
I actually let me take my comment back, and I'll say whatever you choose to wear, it's up to you. I'm not saying shoes or heels are for a man or for a woman. I just want to
Mm.
be hip at the times and make sure it doesn't matter. So if you want to
Mhm.
wear heels and you're a guy, go at it. Doesn't matter. So
Yeah. I'll stick to my wedges and heels to add extra a few inches taller. I'm
mhm.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So what
Yeah.
about you? What's going on?
This week? I've just been really, just been very, very excited a lot lately with, with a lot of things that are going on and coming up for us, before ending this year. I know it's been a very difficult time, this past several months. What are we on now? 7 or 8 months. But as we end this year, I'm, getting more and more excited with just everything that's coming up for us with all our seminars, and then all the guests that we've been having in our podcast and just connecting with them. They've been just really, we've just met so many wonderful people, and just the connection with them. I can't, I don't even know what to say. It's just, it's priceless, and I feel like, does is this a coincidence? Does it just happen? Or how does this work? How did this happen? Because it just, like Ray, who we really connected with so much, and she's a wonderful lady, and Emily, how I got to know her even more. Um, I just, I can't say anymore. I just feel so, I feel a lot of, I feel blessed, and grateful for everything. Although, like I said, the past 7, 8 months had just been really tough and difficult. But to end this year, it's just, I'm getting more and more excited, and more excited of what's coming up for us the next year. Because, like what we said, we want to start the year with a bang, and I think we're already starting it. So I'm excited with everything that's coming up.
Likewise, I'm super excited. I didn't even plan to do virtual seminars this year. It's just something that I was thinking about. It's you got to keep it a new term, new norm, or new way of doing things nowadays.
Mhm.
And it's the more we get used to doing this podcast, the more used to just almost cold emailing or cold messaging someone on social media to say, "Hey, be a special guest." And it's great because now we're getting more guests, and we're actually excited. And it seems that to me, at least is my view, is every guest we interview, especially the last two, Ray, Emily. You guys haven't heard James yet because we had some technical difficulty, but we're going to reshoot again, are all adding to our personal values. They're adding to me and my values. They're adding to what I love. They're adding to what I enjoy. They're adding to a lot of different things um, that are really now resonating high with me. I'm more in line with my purpose, and they're just into me for, because in reality, when we go through something and we're going through changes and the unknown is in front of us, right? We can't help but second guess or unsure or uncertain. And when you have someone that kind of gives you that nudge or says, not tells you, but says the right things at the right time, it kind of gives you that nudge. And that's what the guest asked Emily, Ray Carmen, and James, even though you guys haven't heard him, he's given me the tools that I need psychological, subconsciously, that I want to know I'm on the right path, and more excitement about what I'm doing. Because at the same time we finish with these podcast guests, we may not hear from them again, and some of them we haven't even seen in person. Actually, with the exception of a few, we never seen our guests in person. So we may not catch up with them, but whatever the knowledge they express in their own personal journey through our podcast as a guest, that has stuck with me, and hopefully vice versa. Whatever I said in the podcast, that stuck with them along their journey, because we're all just connected together, and we're just a big machine.
Yes, and what came up for me this week is, loving and enjoying what I do. And we talked about this opening up your third eye, and I'm so glad that had happened to me this year. And in fact, I think it started last year. What I've thought about was, we all have different goals, right? And we probably all want the same things. And what that is a life full of joy and meaning. But sometimes we focus on, the satisfaction that comes from living a meaningful life. But to feel that, to feel the meaning shows that our actions have purpose. So if I think I want to speak for myself here. When I live intentionally with a clear sense of why what I do matters, then life for me has meaning and it brings fulfillment.
Oh my God, that sounds really, really good.
Right? So this came up to me so much this week, and that's why I feel a lot of gratitude. I feel blessed, and I'm excited. I'm excited for everything. And here's what I can tell you for both of us. And I saw this was on the Jay Shetty book. I don't know if you started reading it, but you will see this that
It took like a week for it to get delivered. So because the Amazon 2 day thing, I mean, that didn't happen on Jay Shetty.
but I've learned a lot in that book. So what we do matters, so we matter.
It does.
Yes, and that means you and I, and all the other life coaches there, like Amy and our mastermind group, we matter.
So the question is, do you think you matter?
Yes.
Awesome. You know why you matter?
Why?
All of us are connected. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what language you speak, where you live. We're all connected. And when we are designed to be in an orchestra, or someone's playing the banjo, someone's playing the flute, someone's playing the saxophone, whatever. Everybody has their own specific tune, and they need to play that voice. And you got to think about this: the more you play your own tone or beat to your own drums, the more fulfilled you feel. You're not searching for what's the right tune, what's the right instrument, what's going on. I'm not happy. I'm not getting self care because you're doing your own tune. Like when I left California and moved to Bellingham, Washington, I feel less stress.
Hmm.
100%. Just I don't know what it was. I think what it is. I'm being propelled more to do what I want and what makes me happy versus what I have to do,
Hmm.
and that makes a big difference. The second thing is no one gets anywhere in this world alone, right? So any podcaster, Ray Carmen as example, she will be on our summit. Can't wait to hear. She she got somewhere because people helped her. She hired coaches. Emily hired a coach. These people said, "Hey, I need some help. Who need to hire?" Hired spiritual leaders, coaches, and they thus invested in themselves to get to a new path, a new place in life. So we don't go anywhere on our own.
No, and let me tell you, speaking of life coaches too, is that why was another reason this happened to me yesterday at school. Why another reason that I really do matter and what I do does matter. And I am here to help. We all are. I have a student, she was talking to me about, life coaching, 13 years old, right? Who would, I do work with a lot of kids, a lot of students, teenagers. She has a life coach herself. And she opened up to me what why she ended up having one and what having a life coach has done for her. She's only 13. So I forgot to ask how long she's had a life coach, and she's had her life coach for a while. But the difference of where she first started and where she is now had made such a big impact in her life. I look at her, she's such a good girl. She's very open and she's down to earth. But she was expressing to me that before that, that wasn't her because she didn't know who she was. She said she thought I was going crazy. I thought something was wrong with me. I didn't know what to do with myself. And she said my parents was getting overwhelmed with me. Where do I go? What do I do? Do I see a therapist? Which, not to bring any therapist down. Any help, I think, for especially for kids, is great. She had a therapist for a couple of months, which she didn't like. She wasn't enjoying it, and she just wasn't into it. And then so they said, okay, what's our next option? And let's do a life coach. And this is where things just kind of like, in the beginning, it was hard for her until she realized that I'm getting somewhere with this. And I think it took her about also a couple of months until she realizes, I want to stick with this. This is working for me because it's opening up something else for her. Finding her true self at 13, and she's not done. She's still got a long way and she's still got a long journey. But whatever it was that she was going through before that, what happened to her before that, having a life coach with her and guiding her every week had helped her so much and changed her. She's like, I didn't realize if I had known her before all that, I wish I did, because then I would have seen the progress, And what she was telling me who she was before, looking at her, I was like, oh my God, I wouldn't even have known that you had gone through that, or that would have been you. But again, that brings me to, loving what we do, what I do, and living it intentionally. Um, and I've realized, not realized, I think I've always known this and I've always have it in my heart, but I've just been doing a lot of thinking this week about this, is that when you act out of love, you know that you are providing value.
Certainly you do. Everything is changed by this world by love. And it's funny how, not funny, but I guess I'll use that word, but it's true that it doesn't matter what age you are. You may be going through something, you need some help. Just because you're 7 years old doesn't not mean you figured it out. That means that 13 years old doesn't mean that you don't need help. There was something about it that, so energy attracts and repels. So by her parents, in her case, maybe putting too much pressure on her to be somebody or do something, she was repelling her and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want it. And that's what starts causing a lot of dysfunction and frustration and upset and stress. And I need some help. I just want to talk to you because I'm being forced to do something I don't like, rejecting it.
And now she's always positive. She's all about love, and she understands that there's a lot of people out there. And this is what she told me, that in the beginning of it, people will think that I do have issues, I have problems, but I don't need a life coach because I can fix this myself.
Hmm.
And she's one of them that's gone through that. And I told her, you don't have to have an issue to have a life coach. You don't have to have you don't have to be going through any depression or anything to have a life coach. And that's not what having a life coach is just about. But yeah, and that's what she was expressing that to me. And I thought it was great and it touched me. Then as I walked away from there, that's when I realized, yeah, I really, this is what really is for me.
Yep. So they're adding more tools to you, not more tools, but they're giving you that nudge for that you're doing the right thing for yourself, and not just for yourself, but for the future of the people around you and the people you connect
Mhm.
with.
Mhm.
When I heard that term at the very end, he said, "Oh, most people think I hire a therapist, a life coach because I have a problem." Not necessarily. Now, for those that really have they're schizophrenic, they're bipolar, and yeah, those really need some medical help. But all of us have a box. And through life and through our days, we put stuff in that box. It can be frustration, it can be depression, it can be upset, it can be a lot of different things. I'm not happy with the fact that I'm overweight, let's say. We put all these things in the box and we keep them to ourselves. Like, some of us talk to ourselves, or we talk to ourselves through problems and we put it in that box. Well, the box is only so big. Just no difference than if you put boiling water and fill it to the top and put it on the stove and let it alone, it will eventually boil over. That's exactly what happens. So you need to talk to a therapist or a coach because you inherently unbox some of that stuff. I'm not happy. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's unbox it. Because the more and more you don't unbox it, see, the way things work is what is experienced internally is experienced on the outside. Meaning that if you're going through a tough time, you will thus experience on the outside, meaning that you can have bouts of anger, bouts of depression, you can have bouts of frustration, you can have bouts of you just going to the gym 10 days every day because you need to relinquish the stress. And that's what's expressed on the outside. So something's going on internally, but then expressed on the outside. It can be expressed as a person sleeping in all the time. They don't have energy to go outside, but something else internally is happening. So by going to a coach or a therapist, it allows you to unbox that stuff.
Mhm.
Who wants to go around carrying that the rest of their life or carrying that for a period of time?
And, and a lot of the times too, some people, they look on the outside, right? So if they want happiness, they're looking at the outside of that box, but they don't what you gotta realize and understand is that happiness is not is is internal.
Mm-hmm.
It can be found within us, not necessarily outside. And I know I've experienced that, where I feel like I want to be happy, so I'm looking at the outside. I'm looking at what makes me happy out there. But happiness, until I've come to terms that happiness is within me. I have to really find it and dig in there. What really makes me happy?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing that people don't realize is that in our society we're pretty much well endowed with the objective subjective appearance of happiness. The more money you have, let's say, the more happy you be. The more success you have with friends, the happier you are. The better career, all this stuff. Okay, but where is the root cause and where does happiness come from? It really just comes from yourself doing things that make you happy. I'll give you an example. My goal, let's say a year ago, was by the time I was 46, now being 37, I want to be a millionaire. So the more money I have, the happier I feel. It was up into my drive here to Bellingham, Washington. I realized, wait a minute here. How much money do I really, really need just to maintain my life and things I like doing? I don't need that much. I really don't. Okay. So wait a minute. If I helped out a million people, would I be much more happier? Hell yeah, it would be. So I focus on helping out more people because internally I would be much more happier. So that's why you got to focus on the internal. So I was looking for on an external of, oh, if I'm a million, I'm so happy I can buy these cars, I can buy this. How many cars can you drive? One.
Mhm.
So if you have 5 cars, how many you drive? One. How many pairs of pants do you need to have? One. How often do you go out? With COVID pandemic, no one's going out at this point. So how many you need of really? I mean, do you need 50 pairs of jeans? Do you need 10 pairs of shirts? Do you need 50 computers? What really do you need, right?
Yeah.
And get to the root of the matter. And it's really, it really boils down to this. I just read it right now in David Hawkins' book. I just got a new one. I'm almost done with the trilogy. I finished almost all of his books. It's not the objective. So let's say success or let's say money, right? It means nothing. What it means is our judgment with money. So let's say our parents will always say money doesn't grow in trees or money is the root of all evil. Money entirely has no feeling. It's not consciously alive. It's our judgment that's that's with money. It causes that dysfunction. So my judgment is that more money I have, the more happiness I have. That's a judgment call. The less money I have, the less happy I am. That's a judgment call. So that's why those old sayings of the more money you have, no, sorry, the money is root of all evil. It's really just objective. That's not really true. Conscious money doesn't have any feeling, but the pursuit of money or judgment against money will cause all the suffering.
So this is like an illusion. So we think that success will equal to happiness. But this idea is really an illusion. So when we let's say, achievements, let's say, determine our course, or we're living in that illusion that happiness comes from all that. But let's say we get that, we find success, we get what we want, it doesn't really lead to happiness. So in that case, you have to really be connected, or you have to connect with the soul, not from the objects. I remember while I'm listening to you, I was thinking I there was a celebrity or an actor because I'm thinking about all the celebrities, all the fame and money that they have, right? They have everything that you could think of, that everything that a lot of us could want or would want. But we don't sometimes think that, are they happy with their life? You know? And it was, God, I can't remember which celebrity it was.
Kanye
And he
West.
huh?
Kanye West.
No, it was, somebody else, and he mentioned one time he said that, he was saying that he thinks that everybody should get rich and famous and just get everything that they've ever dreamed of so that they can see that that's not the answer. What was it? Jim Carrey.
Ah, okay.
Yes, because I don't know if you've seen Jim Carrey hasn't been like around a lot lately. I think he was going through something for a while, and I he was in a it was on one of those TV shows, but that was one thing that he said, and I was watching it, and he said that yeah, he believes or he thinks that why don't everybody just get rich and famous, and see, then they know that this is not the answer to their happiness.
But you know what the lure is? Turn any TV program right now, and there's some kind of a lure there. Lure meaning something is drawing you in. It can be the nice new body. So if I had that body, I can wear those sexy clothes. If you notice now when you shop online, very bottom it says online. We look at a new outfit or you're going to buy a pair of clothes. It says this model is 6 foot tall,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Because what happens, they're being sued because they're saying I should look like that, and then when they buy it, I don't look like that.
Mhm.
so
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 no, go ahead, I'll say something after.
so that's what's around us. It's always the lures. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I do that, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy. Or if you ever look at a vacation, right? So infomercials with vacation, they're not showing some of that's overweight. So when I first went to Hawaii, I was like, oh man, people have a ripped bodies, six pack. That
That's
was a
so
total lie.
true.
Okay. So we look at these vacations, they have person, they're skinny, they're young, they're youthful, they're happy. The lure is if I go on that vacation, I'll be feel just like them. I went to Hawaii after seeing these commercials, and that's not what I saw. But it's funny we talk about stars and actors, and let's say Jim Carrey has some kind of conscious awakening or enlightenment. He
Mhm.
probably spent a lot of years being somebody he didn't want to be, and woke when they said, well, "I don't like being this person anymore," and changed. Look what happened to the one that committed suicide. What's his name in San Francisco? Tony,
Robin
not Tony
Williams.
Rod, Robin Williams. He was crying out for help.
Nobody
He
knew.
made nobody knew that. He's making everybody else happy, but he wasn't happy. So if you can look at two actors, Jim Carrey and what's his name again? Totally forgot now.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. They're both, let's say, were comedians. Right? Let's look at that. But one says, "Wait a minute, is this really making me happy?" And says, I don't want that anymore. I want to change." One says, "I'm gonna keep doing this because I like making other people happy, even though it does not make me happy." Two different people, similar kind of backgrounds, but one had a conscious awakening and one did not. That's a big difference there.
Mhm. Yes, certainly true. But a lot of people also like to keep it to themselves.
Of course.
And I think
Of
that's what,
course.
you know, um
Because if you're not a part of the norm is, whatever the norm is, then you're not part of the norm.
yeah, exactly. And this is why, you know, again I go back to to us to I'm I know you are too, that what you're doing this is where you find happiness, more so now than fitness or, than in the fitness industry. And I know you could feel the difference, and you feel the difference. And, same goes with me. And the more I hear about it too, like it's like a reassurance. Sometimes we need that, right? So when we hear from other people, the impact that we've made, and how, just what we're doing right now is just impacting so many people. When we hear it, it just makes us know, and it reassures us that we're on the right path. We're doing what we really want to do, and what we really makes us happy. Like, an example would be, I think I read this to you one time, that I had a parent who emailed me, and what did he say? I think I have it here. He said he knows that any students who engages with me will be for the better. And again, that was another reassurance for me that, okay, I'm doing something that I didn't even realize sometimes, that I'm doing this.
You know why you don't realize you're doing it? Because you're living within your purpose. When you're doing something you really enjoy doing, you don't think about it. You don't consciously as this happens. It evolves. It's a flow. It's happening. When you think about something, then that's where it's man. So I got I'm on Facebook, and the other day, someone there's a lot of people that are on my Facebook. Also people I used to work with at Fry's Electronics.
Hmm.
And Fry's Electronics made an announcement they're closing Campbell's store. And then, someone shares a link and it pops up in my feed, and I read it, and what happened. Obviously, it's always, oh, we're restructuring, we're going to repurpose, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I am really thankful and blessed the fact I'm not there. I'm not there because the thing is that company led with a lot of fear. And the fear was you're going to lose your job. The fear was you're going to be fired. The fear is I have a title and I'm above you. So I can tell you what to do. And look how it imploded. The owners didn't take care of the directors didn't take care of the associates, the store manager didn't take care of the assistant store manager didn't take care of the associates. It was a ripple effect because the company led with this fear-based mentality, which eroded the whole company. That's really what it boils down to. And people always say, oh, it's Amazon, they didn't transition. That company led with fear. They didn't invest back in themselves. It was just a total and utter disaster. And I'm so thankful. I met some wonderful people through my life. Stan Lau, he helped me quit almost 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years in February. He said, without taking risk, you will never know success. I was completely done. But then I didn't know my path was greater than just personal training. Now, after time's passed, my path is greater than personal training. And I'm doing what I want because I'm getting more energy to do it and making time for it.
Hmm.
So that's when you're talking about being in a flow, you're talking about being in love, you're talking about all that stuff. I'm doing exactly what I want to and where I should be at the right time. So, guys, I hope you learned something from this podcast. What's beautiful about Freestyle Thursday is that it went from about my son and me and to something completely different. And that's the
Yeah.
greatest thing to developing conversations with people and just talking. And we're not holding back and we're not saying, okay, I got to make sure I say specifically this because I want to be or feel a certain way. No, we're human beings and we're prone to error, prone to not knowing something to after the fact. Like I didn't know about steroids to after the fact. I didn't know all this happened to me until after the fact. So thank you again for listening to another Freestyle Thursday Life Shuffle podcast. This is Ron Johnson, your life coach. And for those that, do listen to our podcast, but are in need of some help, we're hosting a virtual summit, which is going to be December 21st through the 23rd, having some amazing guests on Zoom. And it's pretty much the focus for us is self-care. And if you need that self-care, you need that help, you need some more insight, or just unbox your box, come join us December 21st to 23rd on our self-care summit. Thanks
And
again.
yes, and each day we'll be talking about something different. We have different guests, and check us out on our website. The information will be there, and contact us. And before we end, I just wanted to leave our listeners something that was in my mind, is that too, to live intentionally, we have to dig deep to why behind the want. And if you'd have to take a moment for yourself to think about this, why we want something, but also who we are or need to be to get it. And that's it. And again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Life's a Shuffle.